Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. Now, I just got back from Vegas, and you know when I go to Vegas, I'm always on the lookout for stuff. I bring back 5,000 singles from Vegas. Now, when you go on vacation, I don't expect you to go to Orlando and bring back 5,000 singles, or go to South Dakota and try to bring back 5,000 singles. But when you do go on vacation, do take advantage of that opportunity. If you have a bank that is I hate to use the word national bank, but if you have a bank that has branches across the country, don't feel bad about stepping in there and seeing if you can't get some singles from that bank. Now you're going to be getting singles that circulated in a different part of the country, and you may see things that you don't normally get to see. The banks that I use, two of them are, once again, I hate saying national banks because are available across the country. So when I go to Vegas, I can always stop by them. Now, of course, when I'm in Vegas, you know that I'm stopping at all the casinos and grabbing straps. But just because you're in a place on vacation that doesn't have casinos that you can do this, doesn't mean you cannot step into a local bank and ask them for, even just a strap of singles. Maybe they've got a bunch. Who knows? You can go in there and say, hey, do you have a bunch of singles? I was looking to get like 500 singles. And if they don't, no big deal. Say, well, would it be okay if I just grabbed one or two? And you'd be surprised how many times they say yes. So it's a great way to get stuff from other parts of the country just to kind of see what's going on. Now, one of the things that I notice a lot when I'm going to the casinos is how often they try to give me nicer notes, meaning brand new, crisp, uncirculated notes. So when you're asking, I wouldn't even feel bad about saying, even if they're crappy notes, even if they're the old worn out notes, I'll still take them. Because that way you're encouraging them to get rid of their straps of older notes rather than giving you the crisp uncirculated ones, because we all know there's not a whole lot to find in those crisp uncirculated still sequential notes. All right, I am starting out my Vegas hunt. All these straps, all these finds came from the MGM properties, so it includes New York, New York. My strap, not your strap. There is a strap I set aside for my members only channel. We're going to do a community strap search starting on the 1st. So, but this was my strap from New York, New York. Aria, Excalibur, Bellagio, Park MGM. I got 2 straps from Mandalay Bay and 3 straps from the Luxor. So that's where the straps came from. Let's take a look at the finds. Starting out, I don't want to say it's the first one I've ever found, but I saw this and I thought, okay, I'll pull it out and I'll bring it up. This is what people call a tombstone note. To me, it's kind of a morbid thing, but whatever. You've got 1955 and then 1982. So you've got, a potential birth year and a potential death year. Like I said, kind of a morbid thought. People try to sell these. Are they worth anything? I don't know. I guess they're worth something to the right person. But once again, you're talking only 1 in 100 people in this country collect coins, and of those coin collectors, only about 3 out of every 20 collect paper money. So you're really looking for a very, very specific person for this note. So does that make it worth anything? To the general public? No. To a specific individual? Yeah. And to me, taking advantage of someone in that situation is, like I said, that's kind of morbid. But it was something that I found, so I figured I'd bring it up. I found a reverse birthday note. 2015, it would be January 15th. You'd prefer to see the 2015 on the back part. But if it was my birthday, I'd be really happy to have found it in circulation. Would I run out and pay anything for it? No. If it was in the right order, yeah, I'd pay $10, $20 for it. Found some trinaries. You know me, I save trinaries. Trying to pair numbers, and you've seen me do it. I don't collect trinaries because they're worth anything. I collect trinaries because it's fun. And it's perfectly fine to do things that are fun. You don't have to do everything for money. I know being in a hobby about collecting money, you would think there should be profit involved, but sometimes it's good to just have fun. So this is 3s, 6s, and 7s, 1s, 2s, and 4s, 1s, 4s, and 5s. And if I look, it looks like that one's a little bit high. So what? That happens. You're going to see that in this small number of bills. Watch how many times you see one of those off like that. Imagine how many were in all those that I didn't care about. So yeah, those rolled digits and gas pumps like that, they aren't worth anything unless they're up high enough so that part of the digit is missing, or you can see part of the next one. 5s, 6s, and 8s. Too bad about that 8. If that was a 5 or a 6, you would add a binary there. 3s, 4s, and 9s, same thing here. That last digit makes it a trinary. Binaries actually have a little bit of value. Trinaries, no value. Then quads. Quad 0s on this one with a 5th. Quad 1s. And quad 2s. Quad 3s. And quad 3s again. Quad 7s. And some star notes. 2021 star. 2017A. 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 Always check, see if they're filled. You never know. You want to make sure they're all the way filled, not just partially filled. If it's partially filled, it's also partially not filled. So if it's partially not filled, it's not filled. I mean, I don't know how much clearer to make that. This one is from 2017. Another 2017 star. Another star. And then the older notes. I pull everything that's 20 years and older. So this is a 2003A. Not in real good shape. 2003. This one's fairly decent. 1999. Another 99. 1995. Looking to see if it's a web note. It is not. And the oldest note I found was a 1993. Also not a web note. All right, so those were my finds. That tombstone note, that came from, where'd that come from? Mandalay Bay. What did I pull this time? Well, let's see here. I've got from where is that? 1929. I knew that. This was one of the pickups at the show that I went to. It is a $20 Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago note. So you're probably going to see this one in the auction soon enough, but I figured I'd give it a moment on here. 1929 national currency. They did this on the national currency plate because the intent of making these notes was to try to do away with the national bills. Okay. What is this exactly? Well, it's a $20 bill. And if we read it, it says national currency, secured by United States bonds deposited with the Treasury of the United States of America or by like deposit of other securities. The Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, Illinois will pay the bearer on demand $20. That means this isn't backed by silver, it's not backed by gold, it's not backed by anything other than the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. Specifically, of the 12 Federal Reserves, this note was backed by the Chicago Reserve. They are the ones guaranteeing the value on this. Unlike Federal Reserve notes, where the Federal Reserve is guaranteeing the value, the securities as listed here, secured by bonds and other securities, those securities were deposited by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago to guarantee the value. Whereas most national currency, an individual regular bank with a charter number would be the ones backing it. This was a way of not having to print 15,000 different charter numbers for 15,000 different banks. By using Federal Reserve banknotes, instead of doing 15,000 different banks, they only had to do 12. So this was the way that they were trying to ease out of the national banknotes. If we look at the back, it looks like your standard $20 bill on the back. This one's a little bit dark down here, but it does not say "In God We Trust" on the back. That didn't happen until the 50s. Standard picture of Jackson right there. It does say redeemable in lawful money on this side. You got the brown seal on there. The G, of course, still represents the Chicago Reserve. Reserve numbers, District 7. G is the 7th letter, so that's where you get that. And let's not forget that the G also coincides with the serial number, just to make sure that everything stays the same. You can see the date there, series of 1929. And this one's kind of cool because you got quad 9s in it. So I saw that and I thought that was pretty cool. This particular one's got a little bit of roughness on the top. Overall, though, it still has decent eye appeal. You can see everything about the note. It's not in too bad a shape. So if you're looking to get an example of one of these, this was a very easy way to do it. Let's take a look at the book and see what the book has to say. And of course, when I talk about the book, I'm talking about Paper Money of the United States, because everybody asks. All right. Pop this open. Federal Reserve banknotes. They made the 5, they made the 10, they made the 20, they did the 50 and the 100 as well. But we are looking for the 20 from Chicago. 1870G, they made 2 million of these notes, and you can see in a VG8 it starts off at 60. In a 12 you're talking 65. By the time you get to a 20 you're looking at 75. That's it right there. 90, you're talking 135 in choice and circulated. 200 and a 63 and 375 and a gem 65. So this one is in that 65 to 75 range, I'd say. Probably closer to $65 or $70 on this particular one. So this was just a neat find at the show. I figured I'd scoop this up because it was priced right. And yeah, it'll probably end up in the auction. So if you don't have a 1929 Federal Reserve banknote yet, look forward to seeing this one soon. All right, guys, if you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.